living in the mountains of Himalayas in India. And Himalayas these days are very, very popular for people from the West who come to visit there. You find people from America, you find people from Europe, you find people from the United Kingdom all coming up there to the Himalayas to look for some peace, to look for some, way of life to get within. So this yogi, this man who would meditate, would sit in the Himalayas. He was an Indian yogi. He didn't know a word of English. There's only one word he knew. One English word. And the English word he knew was pizza. That's the only word he knew. Because so many American people would come to the Himalayas, they would always keep talking about pizza, 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 pizza. The only thing this yogi knew was pizza. So then this man, after a while, he decided to come down from the Himalayan mountains. He came to a place called Delhi in India. And while he came to Delhi, he decided, nothing doing, I must take my flight to go to New York. First time from the Himalayas, out and straight to New York. He came to downtown Manhattan and he decided, I must go and eat a pizza. So he went to a pizza shop. He didn't know English. But somehow he communicated to the pizza vendor and asked him a question. How much do you sell a pizza for? The vendor said, $10. This yogi had money. He pulled out a $20 bill and gave it to the vendor. He said, can I have one? So he gave the $20 bill, took the pizza as he was waiting. He ate the pizza and he was waiting for his change. He's given a $20 bill, the pizza's for $10, so he's waiting for the change, $10 back. And the vendor didn't show a clue of giving the change back. So after a lot of time being restless, the yogi asked, Sir, what about my change? So what change? So I gave you a $20 bill, you're supposed to give me $10 back because it's a $10 pizza. And the vendor said, look sir, you are a yogi. You don't need this change. For you, change must come from within. And I love the story. Because if we really want to experience life to its fullest, change must come from within. The world today is running at a very fast and a rapid pace where there are a lot of changes externally. We have moved up externally a lot. Once upon a time, if you had to call someone up, it used to be, you have to have a landline with you, a landline number, and you have to call up, you have to book a call. For an international call, you would have to book a call. Now from anywhere you can just call. Times have changed. Even in the world of cellular phones, phones have changed from Nokia and Samsung and Sony Ericsson to iPhones and Blackberries. Things have changed. Today the world is flooded. The markets are flooded with the best brands of the world. In terms of the clothes we wear, Mark Spencer, Louis Phillips, Tom Taylor, Dolce Gabbana, Gucci, perfumes, L'Oreal, all kinds of stuff available in the market. A lot of external change. Hairstyles have changed. Mine is a unique one. A very unique hairstyle, indeed. I remember telling one of my friends once, I told one of my friends, my hairstyle is a unique and an amazing one. He said, why? I said, you know what? With my hairstyle, you don't have to waste time in grooming your hair. I'm sure many of you would agree to this thing. Cool man, your hairstyle is really cool because you don't need to waste time grooming your hair and pay money to get your hair groomed well. And my friend said, well, that may be the advantage, but I must tell you what the disadvantage is. He said, the disadvantage is you just do not know till where to wash your face. Because it's all the same level, If you have hair, then at least you know, okay, stop. But if you don't have hair, you go all the way up. Well, hairstyles are changing, lifestyles are changing, brands are flooding the market. Everything in the world out there is changing. But if we do not learn how to change ourselves within, we will not be able to get the most out of what we have. All of us are looking to get and squeeze some pleasure, some happiness, some contentment, some fulfillment, some satisfaction out of what we have. But in order to get the most of what we have, external changes will not help us. We need to bring a change from within. All the books of the world, the wisdom books, the holy books, whether it's Christianity, whether it's Islam, whether it's Hinduism, it just doesn't matter. Whichever path, whichever book, the message is one. And what is that message? Bring an inner change. A revolution within. Why? Only when we bring that change within and a revolution within can we experience true contentment. Allow me to tell you a story if you like. There were 3 Indians in a place, in India there's a place called Gujarat. In this Gujarat there were 3 Indians, village people, countryside, didn't know how to speak English at all. They only knew their local language. And they won a lottery. You know what the reward was? The reward was a free ticket, return, both ways, to New York. A free ticket on Virgin Atlantic. It's a good flight, good planes. What more? They would get to live in a high-rise 5-star hotel. It's amazing. If you were to pay for it, you would always think, but if you win a lottery and say a free gift, back and forth ticket to New York and get to stay in a high-rise hotel. And these Indians had never moved out of their hometown. For the first time, they came to the airport. They didn't know how to board a flight. They somehow came up to the flight, and the stewardess was again and again coming and saying, "What can I get you? What can I get for you, sir?" And they were delighted with the beautiful stewardesses moving around. Finally, somehow they landed at the John F. Kennedy Airport, the JFK Airport at New York. They came to the hotel where they were staying, and guess what? They were given a room on the 100th floor of the high-rise hotel. They were excited. They'd never seen a building like that. They said, "Wow, this is fantastic." They took all of their belongings. They got into the lift, the elevator, and came up to the 100th floor. They put all their simple belongings down there. They removed their Indian food and tasted it a little bit. And all 4 of them decided that we must go for a tour of New York City. And all 4 of them decided we'll go in different directions. And at the end of the day, in the evening, we will all come together at the basement of the hotel, and then we'll share our experiences with each other. How did we like the city? At the end of the day, all 4 of them came, and guess what? There was a power failure. It's a story. In New York, it doesn't happen. In a story, it can happen. There was a power failure. Since there was a power failure, obviously the elevator wouldn't work. They waited for an hour, thinking that their power supply would be resumed, but it wouldn't. After a long waiting time, all 4 of them decided, why not just climb up 100 floors? They said, "Hey, we are Indian villagers from the countryside, strong people, we can anyways make it up there." All 4 of them decided to go up, and as they were walking up, they said, if we share our experiences, we won't even realize how time flies. Let's talk about each other's experiences. So as they were walking up, they start saying, "Oh, this was it. We saw one lady who was white, who was holding a torch like that, the Statue of Liberty." And they were all talking about these different things. 3 of them were talking. As they came forward towards the 98th floor of the building, they realized the 3 were talking, the one other person was silent, quiet. Said, "Hey, what happened? You're not saying anything?" Said, "My experience is a very traumatic one. You won't be able to handle it. So come on, what's so bad that we can't handle? Just tell us. Say, no. You'll probably get a cardiac arrest if I tell you this. Hey, come on, man, tell us. What is it? What is so traumatic that bothers you? What was your experience? As they were pushing him and impelling him to speak, they were further now on the 99th floor, close to their room, the 100th floor. And as they came closer, the fourth guy said, I forgot the key to our room on the ground floor. Can't be more traumatic. That you walk all the way 99 floors up, and then you find that you missed the key to your room on the 100th floor. Friends, I must say, probably it's just my observation, you could vouch for it, you could argue on it. But if you ask me, I feel very strongly that modern civilization is like this today, isn't it? On one side, we are walking way up to the 100th floor of success. Technologically, we have gone way up. From a phone, we are on iPhone. From a pad, we are on iPad. Isn't it? From a top, we are on laptop. Just moving on. Scientifically, we are moving on. Economically, we are moving on. The economy in England was poor. The pound is escalating again. 6 years back when I came to England for the first time, a pound was 84 Indian rupees. It came down to 70 Indian rupees. Now it's again booming. The markets are booming. Things are picking up. Everything's going up. On one hand, going up. On the other hand, however, sometimes, it's just my observation, I may be wrong in this, I just feel sometimes that looks like we have missed the key way behind. While we are trying to walk up in life, seems like the key to true contentment or fulfillment seems to be missing way behind. And the reason why most of us come here is to discuss if we could find that key somewhere, isn't it? Can you find that key somewhere where we can really find that true contentment, satisfaction, fulfillment in life? Someone sent me a nice mail. They said, what is the state of the world today? He said the state of the world today is our communication is wireless. Our phones are cordless. Our food is fatless. Our sweets are sugarless. Our cooking is fireless. Our relations are fruitless. Our attitude is careless. Our feelings, heartless. Politics, shameless. Education, worthless. Mistakes, countless. Arguments, baseless. Youth, jobless. Jobs, thankless. Needs, endless. Salaries, less and less. Situation, hopeless. I'm sorry if I'm too candid about it. I didn't write this one. It's someone's observation that I'm reading it out to you. It's not what I am saying really. It's just someone's observation I'm presenting to you. But correct me if I'm wrong. If we look at life more objectively than subjectively, we'll probably realize that that seems to be the truth of our life today. Huh? In such a scenario where everything seems to be moving at such a fast pace, do we want to move at such a fast pace that we forget what's of most meaning to us? Can I share another story with you? I love to tell stories, by the way. There was a guy. He was driving in his newly bought Bentley. How many of you would like to have a Bentley? Very good. Everyone does, but you're absolutely honest to raise your hand. Who wouldn't like to have a Bentley? Probably someone else would like to have a Ferrari or maybe a Rolls Royce. Maybe. Huh? BMW, okay. BMW. Are you from Germany? No. Okay. BMW. Yeah, anyone wants to. So this guy was moving in a first class, plush looking, glossy black. You know how that is? A glossy black, shiny Bentley. Woof! And as he was driving on the road, suddenly he found a huge boulder, a rock, flying away straight and coming and hitting his windshield hard. Crack! The windshield cracked. And his heart cracked. You know, when you buy a new car and someone just throws you off, you miss a heartbeat, you know. I've shelled out a huge amount of money to get this car. This man, he slammed the brakes, stopped the car, parked it on the side. What do they call it here in England? Blind shoulders? Put it there. Huh? It's on the side of the hard shoulder. Yeah, hard shoulder, that's right. Parked it on the hard shoulder, got off the car, started walking on the sidewalk to see who did it. There was no one on the road. Who did it? As he walked a few steps behind, he saw there was a guy about 10 years old, and this guy 10 years old was trying to put a child, who's about 4, was mentally challenged. This 4-year-old child was mentally challenged. He was in a wheelchair, and this child, for some reason, his brother, younger brother, had fallen off the wheelchair. But this man, this older child, 8-year-old, 10-year-old child, was trying to pick his younger brother and put him on the wheelchair again. The man came up to him and said, "Was it you who did this? Was it you who threw the stone on my car?" The older child said, "Yes, I did." The man was furious. He was outraged. He said, "What the hell you think of yourself? Huh? Who do you think you are? That you take a boulder and throw on someone's newly purchased car? You know what it costs me to do this? And you have the guts to say I did it? Why?" He just held his collar and said, "Why did you do this?" The older child said, "For the last over an hour, my younger brother's fallen here on the road. I just don't have the energy to put him back. I'm a weak boy. I've been trying to wave my hand and stop so many cars moving on the road, and not one person bothered to stop. I didn't know what to do. I have to take wheel my brother back home. And therefore the only option left for me was to pick up a stone and throw at the car. I waited for an hour, no one listened to me, no one even bothered for me. And after about an hour, yours was the car passing by. It's not that I intended to hit your car. Any car that would have passed by would have done this." The man was moved, touched in his heart. He put the child back on the wheelchair, gave him some money, and asked him to wheel him back home. As he sat into his Bentley, there was an impression on the windshield, cracked glass. But there was a massive impression on his heart. And what was the impression on his heart? This man became reflective. He said, "Don't drive your life at such a fast pace that in order to look at what is meaningful in life, a rock has to come and stop you. Don't wait for rocks to come and stop you in life, to make your life a little slowed down and then become reflective. Oh, what's so important? What's meaningful in life?" Life has become pretty fast-paced indeed. We shouldn't live life at such a fast pace that we forget things that are of value to us, things that are of meaning to us. What gives genuine happiness and fulfillment is not things. Things can never give us fulfillment. They're good. We should have things, no issues. No issues having things. But to think that things can give us happiness and fulfillment, it's not right. I remember when I was studying my electrical engineering back in India, I had a couple of friends. How many of you have eaten a samosa? Most all of you have eaten a samosa and you know what it means. India is very famous for it. I remember we went to a college canteen and we ordered a plate of samosa. 4 of us sitting. Our college canteen was on the banks of a river. Beautiful river. Crystal clear water. The weather was excellent that day. The weather was excellent. The beautiful river flowing. And samosa in the hand. And one of the 4 friends, he told us, he took a bite. He said, "Oh, the river's so beautiful. The weather's great. And this samosa is the best I've eaten in my life. Look at the cover. So crisp. Look at the stuffing inside. It's just rightly spiced. And it's piping hot. Wow. Amazing." He ate it. He took a few bites. Half the samosa was still in his hand. And one of our friends came and said, "You know what?" We said, "What?" Said, "Our results are out." So the friend who had half the samosa in his hand, he said, "What happened to me?" He said, "You failed in all your subjects." Now half the samosa was still in the hand. The river was the same. The weather was exactly the same. The samosa was yet hot. The stuffing was rightly spiced. The cover was crispy. He couldn't enjoy that samosa again. Was the happiness in the samosa? If it was, then why doesn't he still enjoy it? As soon as his state of mind changes, the happiness that he gets out of that changes. Have any of you ever been insulted? I was insulted in public. I was just telling someone the story when my father left his body. One of the leaders of the community I was brought up in came up to the dais, my father's dead body there. And in public he said, "He's the cause of his father's death." Imagine. I didn't do anything. My father left his body because of Parkinson's disease. And this man comes up to the stage and in public he says, the son is the cause of his father's death. Oh gosh, give me a break. What's happening here? When your state of mind is disturbed, when someone insults you, someone hurts you, the best thing cannot give you pleasure. You may be in the best of all rooms, the best couches, the best cars, the best finest foods, the best phones, the best glasses, Dolce & Gabbanas, the best garments. When the state of mind changes, we cannot experience pleasure out of it. What's important then? Things or the state of our mind? Please, always remember, I'm not saying things shouldn't be there. There's no problem having things. Absolutely no problem having a good car, good garments. That's not a problem. The problem is when we think that those things can give me satisfaction. The same thing stops giving me satisfaction when my state of mind is changed and altered. Soon as my mind is disturbed, can't derive that satisfaction out of it. Are you all with me? Okay, good. Thank you. And therefore, all the literatures of the world, holy literatures of the world, point out to this very important thing. And what is it? Change must come from within. Change externally, that's no problem. You don't have to change your dressing styles to something like me. Mine is the same color every day, same brand, no change. You don't have to worry about that. Don't change this. You definitely don't have to change your hairstyles. You don't have to. All we need to change is the state of our mind, is the state of our consciousness, which will help us get maximum fulfillment from whatever we do in life. You see? You understand what I'm trying to say? And therefore, then many people ask this question, "Sir, all that is fine and okay, but our question of at the ultimate end is this. How do you keep that state of mind? How do you keep that cool within? Isn't it? How do you keep it cool?" I was telling a story recently. I'm a storyteller, by the way. Every now and then I'll keep telling you a story. But these stories are fun because they give us such important and crucial messages but in such a nice way. There was once a restaurant, and this restaurant, there was a lady sitting there. She had ordered for a pizza. And as she was sitting, waiting for the pizza to come, suddenly a cockroach came and landed on her shoulder. How many of you are okay with cockroaches? How many of you are scared of cockroaches? 1, 2, 3. How many of you are not scared but would be a little kind of restless if a cockroach would come on your shoulder? Feel what's happening here, a cockroach? Strange feeling there. This cockroach, when it came and landed on this lady's shoulder, she got up and started doing some salsa dancing. Dancing, yelling, screaming, howling. And as she was dancing, she tried to just push the cockroach off, and she pushed it off. That cockroach came and landed on another lady's shoulder. So now it was her turn to dance. The drama shifted now. It was her turn for doing the drama. Finally, as she was taking care of the cockroach, this cockroach, she shooed it away. And it came and landed on the waiter's shoulder who was bringing the pizza. The waiter was cool. No problem. He just kept the tray of the pizza on the table. Very gently pushed the cockroach away without saying a word, shouting, dancing, yelling, drama, nothing. Took it off. Went and used some sanitizer to sanitize and clean his hands. Picked the tray of the pizza up. Offered it to the lady who had ordered it. Another lady was sitting in the restaurant. She was watching this. And she learnt a very crucial lesson. You all want to know what she learnt? If you learn this lesson and take it seriously, your life will not be the same again. In a positive sense. Not in the negative sense. Otherwise, your life will not be the same, it will go worse. It can get better. This lady, she thought, was it the cockroach that caused so much trouble? If it was the cockroach, why did this guy not do this dance drama? The lady concluded, it's not the cockroach. It's the ability to handle the cockroach. That lady didn't have the ability to handle the cockroach. This man had the ability to handle the cockroach. That lady reacted. That man responded. And there is a difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is impulsive. You don't think about it. You don't deliberate it. We are habituated and conditioned to it. Someone says you are a nut, you say, what the hell you think of yourself? You're a nut, man. So we react. Impulsive. Response is well thought, deliberated. He said, I am a nut. Maybe I am. I'm not a nut. But if I react, it'll cause me trouble probably. Let me think. Let me deliberate. Let me choose to respond in a proper way. Not react the way I'm habituated to. So the difference between the lady and the waiter was, one had the ability to handle the cockroach, the other didn't. One was reacting, the other was responding. And so in life, all of us have our cockroaches. They land on our shoulders uninvited. Sometimes it's work pressure for those who work. A deadline. Suddenly the boss comes and says, you have to finish it at this point. Do you understand? Huh? Understand, you must finish it by this deadline. The word is interesting, deadline. It's not called a lifeline. Because by the time you finish it, you are dead. It's called a deadline. You know. Sometimes that cockroach comes in the form of a deadline. Sometimes that cockroach comes in the form of a heartbreak, a relationship conflict, misunderstanding between people. And when we are misunderstood by the people whom we love the most, well, that's something too much. Can't handle that. So many cockroaches keep landing on our shoulders. You thought, oh, it was a cockroach. The cockroach is just a literal thing. The implied thing of it is there's so many different things in life that keep coming, and we react. We don't respond. We react by sinking under pressure. We react by doing something's wrong. We have to learn how to choose and respond. And therefore, that change must come from within. Not to react, but to respond. All of us sitting here have a choice, and we can choose. We can choose to yell, or we can choose to love. We can choose to be envious, or we can choose to be loving and compassionate. We can choose to hate, or we can choose to befriend. We can choose to kill, or we can choose to help live. We can choose to uplift. We can choose to degrade. We can choose to be stressed. We can choose to be satisfied. The choice is ours. We can choose. The problem is we have never chosen. The problem is we become slaves to reacting always. Anything comes, just react. Oh, this is the way I did it all my life. If there's someone there in the traffic, if someone doesn't really move his car, yell at him, man. This is how I always did it. No. We can change. And the change must come from within. And I can assure all of you sitting here that if we really start living by choosing and responding, mind will be much more peaceful than what it is now. All religions, all holy paths, all spiritual men teach one thing. We are helpless many times. When it comes to the mind, if you have ever had a sleepless night, you know how the mind is. Many times to deal with the mind, we become helpless. It's, I can't choose, sir. It sounds very good. All this stuff sounds very good. And when I walk out of this place, I feel I'll do it now. But when I go on the street, I lose my ability to do it. I just react rather than respond. And therefore, all true paths of religion have shown us that we must connect to a power higher than ourselves. Just like in studies, if someone wants to study and he can't study well, he needs to connect to a person who can help him study. A person wants to start his business and he doesn't have much experience in business. He must network and connect to a person who can help him do that business, who knows how to do it. Similarly, when we want to deal with our minds, all religions have taught us we have to connect to a higher power, the power of the divine, the power of God. Why do we need God in our lives? When everything's around us, why do we need God in our lives? Most people would ask us that question. It's a very simple thing. We connect to that ultimate higher power because we want to change from within. Changing from outside is simple. Changing from within is not as easy. But when we connect ourselves to the Supreme, to the Divine, to the Absolute, to the ultimate truth, to God, that power will help us bring that change from within. And therefore, I believe every afternoon people congregate here and many people come here, guests come here to discuss this. That we've gone way ahead, let's find that key, which probably we left way behind, to bring that change from within. So, the carry home message for today, 2 or 3 things. First, inner change gives true fulfillment. Change from outside is okay. That's okay. Understandable. We can change. That's no problem. But alongside, we must try to change from within. The second message is the ability to respond, not to react. We have a choice to respond. If we just learn how to exercise that choice, and that choice, the change from within, can be most effectively brought about by our connection with the absolute truth, a connection with the divine, a connection with God. And I can assure all of you this, for the last 15 odd years, I've been trying to practice this. And I've been trying to help a lot of people deal with their issues in life. I can definitely assure you this, that when we try to connect to God, we will be able to make the right choices and make that inner change, and life will be different indeed from a positive point of view. I wish to thank all of you very, very much for being with us here this afternoon. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Thank you, Gaura Prabhu. I'd like to give 3 loud Haribols for Gaura Gopal Prabhu. Haribo! 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 So today now we'll take prasadam. If there's some volunteers to serve prasad on the men's side and the ladies' side. Okay. And some volunteers to help clean the temple after prasad.